Hey, how's it going? Michael Lundquist with Vital Transport here at Boone's Cave State Park, Davidson County, North Carolina. Beautiful December 19th, 2017. Little nice rock monument to Daniel Boone here. And I'm going to go check out this sign, and we'll explore the trails and cave, and I'll try to tell you a little bit more about this place. Hey, back here at the office, and did a little research on Boone Cave State Park. Just that there wasn't a ton of information that I added. Um, there wasn't that big story like we could read at Tori's Den. So here's a few short stories that I have for you that I gained, talked to some people, and did some research. So Boone Cave State Park and the Yadkin Forks are sacred places. Not only do they have that baptism rock now today, and that was, definitely, it's not at its height of popularity as it was at one time. So it, changes and things like that. But these were definitely sacred places for ancient Native Americans. They've found evidence of that, and just in general, you can feel it's a spiritual place. If you are spiritual at all, you definitely notice it when you're there. So, just kind of a general comment there. Animals, there's wolves, panthers, mountain lions. They're all probably, and bears, probably all, have been in those dens, caves, dens, made them their dens. And throughout the years, even in Daniel Boone's time, there could have been wolves, panthers, mountain lions. Nowadays, more like bobcats and, Lord knows what else. But we don't have some of those things anymore. But this is interesting that there's evidence that suggests that jaguars hunted this far north into central North Carolina at some time pre-1700, which means, that gives the potential for a really big type of cat to have been in and around these caves. Again, no exact evidence on that, just interesting that jaguars roamed this far north at one time. And, when you go into a cave, which always makes you think of like a lion's den or something. It's just fun to imagine. Boone's Cave, it's only 110 acres, smallest state park in North Carolina. It does feel big though when you're there because there's lots of different things you can see and do. I didn't even see everything. It's nice. I guess a bang for your buck in square acres. Excuse me. The Boone family settled in the area just after 1750. So, not too long after the jaguars, but definitely, they had to contend with wolves, panthers, mountain lions, bears, crazy neighbors, Lord, a whole host of things. So, it's tough living around that time. It was just after 17. Nobody really knows exactly. And people dispute where Daniel Boone's family actually was their one home settlement, but they have some documents dating back to like 1753. One of his family members does sign something showing the land, so around that area. One man claims to have seen an apparition of a wolf. He said it caused him to run away in fear. Read his whole story. He went back, to the area a couple times afterwards, and actually was there, took a picture of this light energy looking picture. Really it could be anything. This guy is either really sensitive to that sort of thing, or, who knows? But that made me look into it a little bit more. And there are some, other people that do talk about it being an important place for ancient spirits. the park rangers and things like that I was talking to about, if there's weird stories, they said there's stories about energy, and a lot of religious folks love, coming to there, throughout history. And, but it seems to me almost like, if there are even these hauntings, this guy saw a wolf, he ran. I mean, even if all this stuff happened, it doesn't seem to be anything to fear. And most people kind of say it's a positive feeling there, which is kind of what I experienced when I was there. It was a good, positive feeling. Even the caves were kind of welcoming when I was crawling back. I even wanted to crawl farther back, but I think, the research I did shows that I definitely need a friend or something with me because of animals, even today. And it's crazy that you read the stories of these early settlers that would go 80 feet deep back in these caves or hide from their enemies in these caves for 4 days and come out some hole, down the hill or something. And man, you realize that these people were really tough survivalists. So anyway, that's my additional research, and hope you enjoy this little hike. So we're over here at the rest area. A little bit of information. Speed limit 10 miles an hour. Really close to the Davidson-Davie County border because we're really close to the Yadkin River, if you can see. And does say starting in November, which we're in December, it does close at 5 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. So keep that in mind if you come here in the winter like me and don't like crowds. Little information here on a common tree they find in this area, eastern redbud, about 20 feet tall, tolerates shade, and that's where we see these pink flowers in the spring. Lives about 50 to 75 years, so just a little factoid for you. So I passed the entrance to the complex, and this is kind of in the middle of this rest area we stopped at with that rock monument. And this road goes down here to this little shelter here, so that's what I'm going to check out first. There's a sign for trails and a little building that I passed earlier that we'll go back and check that out. Just want to see what's down at this shelter first. Then we'll work our way back. It's a beautiful day here in September. September. Here in December. But it actually does feel like September. So, I don't know what the temperature is right now. Let's see. It's 66 degrees it says outside according to my car. So looks like we can enter the trails right here. So I will do just that. So here we are at the trailhead I just pulled up to. And again, the way I got here was to just go past the entrance, drive straight all the way down until the main road dead ends, and this is where they want you to go. Safe, nice trails for all sorts of stuff. You can kayak, canoe here on the Yadkin. They got a river, the cave, and it just looks like a pretty nice complex. So I'm gonna go check out the cave. Go right to what we came here to see. And then if I have time, I'm going to check out the river too. Here's an animal that I've seen even in the city limits of Winston-Salem at my house. Eastern wild turkey. Cool thing about this park, if you have kids that are into science and stuff like that, so far, they've got all these cool little signs that tell you information about the plants and animals. Very common tree, the white oak around here. Very heavy. I have them in my yard, and they're just strong, huge trees. As you can see, the trunk for this one is massive, and it just keeps going up. Pretty big tree. A little more information about them. It can be 70, even higher than 70 feet I've seen. So that's the red oak.
So as soon as you walk into the trail, all signs point for you to go down this little trail here, which I'm going to do. But since none of the signs point the other direction, I can see how it says observation area only, I figure let's go observe now. Go that way first. So here the observation point ends, and what are we observing? The Yadkin River. And that's the border of Davidson-Davie County, I guess in the middle of the river there. And that's where you can observe. So if you can see, this is kind of the view that would be there for you to observe. Much like on our last adventure, we're getting a way better view because of the winter time. These trees would be full of leaves in the spring and summer, and it'd be much less to see, but we can see the whole river. Don't see anybody on there today, but I did hear some voices and stuff like that, so I'm sure there's people kayaking or canoeing and stuff like that. So I'm gonna head to the cave. North Carolina really has awesome wildflowers, so you can see they take it really serious, the federal law and everything. They try to protect the wildflowers. I don't know which ones, if any, we can see in the wintertime, but I'm going to start down the trail that it says the cave is at. Wanted to put a little message in this video. If you like these videos and feel you could add something at all, be it interview or anything like that, if you want to help me out, come on these trips, film, if you're able to help me with film or editing. Just planning to do more, getting a good response, but obviously social media is just something I am, it's a necessary evil to get things out there to people, but basically a joke when it comes to finding quality things. So I like to embed this message in the video so that if you are somebody that actually does want to help, I know you actually watched at least half the video. And sorry to go on like that, but I just thought that'd be the best way to do it. If you want to help me, definitely shoot me a message, and it's not hard to find me on Twitter, Facebook, all the social media stuff I just said. You can find me. This is the cherry tree, and just another one of those nice little factoid signs. I'm going to head down this trail. Here's kind of my perspective as I come down the first part of the trail. One thing it didn't say really how far it is to the cave, so or what's on the way or anything like that. So I will just check some different things out and talk about them and approximations as far as distance. Came upon what I first thought was a rock wall, but actually looks like the foundations for a rock house, and that's a little chimney up there. Stone structure. Trail goes up there. So I'm gonna check this thing out. Here I am standing right in the middle of the rock house. They have signs about nature in this park so far, but nothing about this structure. Assume it's an old rock house that burnt down, but as we saw in the last video, I think everything is from smoke and fire, and it might not be. Anyway, I'm going to get a couple more shots of this and the chimney, and then we'll head back on the trail. There's the chimney of this little decimated rock house. It says no camping or anything in here, so I don't know if anybody is able to get a permit and camp in here. If so, you can still use maybe the outdoor fireplace. There's the main trail down there. You can see one of those white signs. Cool little rock house. Another fact sign about the nature, the American hornbeam. Blue beech, ironwood, musclewood, other names for it. Here's another plant, sage. It's hard to read, but it's about bellwort, which is another plant found in this area. Another pretty dirty sign here, but this is hazelnut. And here we go, a bracken fern. So they're actually something we can observe pretty clearly here in those ferns. It's a bracken fern. Nice days in the wintertime are a time to do construction, so it looks like they're built. There's another type of tree, the pignut hickory. And here we are, plant that the South is known for, the magnolia. Carolina silverbell. Cool little tree, and very Christmassy name for December. The bloodroot treats various skin ailments. Solomon seal. Pretty big time perennial here in the area. This is the wild comfrey. It's another perennial, and man, I love that they put all these signs up. I'm a dork about plants, like to read, and at one time even was my job to plant flowers at a golf course. Here's the pokeweed. Seen this around. It's edible only when cooked. It's got all sorts of different treatment uses. Cool plant. This is the blue star. Yellow corydalis. This is big tubular flowers. Really, really pretty. So I came to where some trails merge. Looks like they have awesome biking trails here too. As you see that way, where I just came is back to the kayak and canoe trail. Here's a sign, you come at the fork, woodland, wetland trails. Guess there's a land bridge, or maybe that's just the wetland bridge. I think that's what it is. And then the cave, this way, that's where we're going. So I only had to walk a very short distance, and came here to another sign, and just wanted to point out, because we're going to see the cave, and it looks like this is a pretty big fun area. So I don't know if we'll have time to explore, but there's this Cottonwood Trail, the Red Oak Trail, wilderness hikes, and the cave's the other way. Now as you can see, we're right here on the banks of the Yadkin River. Now I'm breaking, there we go. So beautiful in any time of year, but definitely cool in the winter when you can see through the trees. Check this out, Yadkin River, huge rock, and it's called Baptism Rock. Right here on the banks of the Yadkin. Kind of reminds me of rocks I've seen in rivers in Europe and places like that, where the legend has it that it calls the ships in and people crash into it and stuff. But this one is where they go do baptisms, because you can get into the Yadkin so easily here. And it's one of the modern uses of this rock. Oh my gosh, here we are. Isn't this cave amazing? Just kidding. It's a hole in a tree just up from that baptism rock right there, which you can see. Plenty of room for a lot of people to stand. Here we are at a little cave. Reminds me of the rocks at what we've already seen on that Tory's Den. But as you see, this one is basically just a rock coming down the mountainside. Here's another entrance to the cave. Go around here. You see there's two different ways you can go in the cave. Take the big way first. As you enter the cave, you can see it gets pretty dark. Still some natural light. Temperatures drop probably 7 degrees, something like that. This light isn't working so well, so I'm going to try my more powerful one. Alright, here I am deeper in the cave with a little more powerful flashlight. Again, some fantastic hieroglyphics. Now let's see what we can see. Goes pretty far back there, and most likely just goes to the other side. So let's check out that other side before we go walking back there. So here I am, if you can get another perspective of it. It's another little crawl area over there, and that's where I'm gonna take my little flashlight, and we'll go look inside there to see if that's what just goes back. So be back right with you. So as you can see, the outside of the cave here, and we're about to explore this little area. Huh. So in these crawling areas, I just am not sure exactly where they go. It appears, looking here, that these crawl spaces go probably somewhere else deeper than the part of the cave I was in just before. So here we go again into the biggest part of the cave. And I crawled a little bit into that side area. But as you can see, this goes to a completely different area in there. And there's some passageways and things. And man, I am not going down there alone. So I have to come back and try that another time. These caves are interesting. And it's just
Weird how if you do an army crawl, you can be in another world almost. This is the view sitting inside the cave. You can see why this is such a good shelter for every animal you can probably think of, and humans alike. So it's another concern I have about venturing into these holes without anybody else with me. So again, just here to show you this cave. Might come back with somebody to go a little bit deeper, but man, this is a great view right out the cave. Sorry, I left my backpack out there, but if you can see, that's the Yadkin River down there. Very peaceful. Boone's Cave. Just outside the cave here, they built this really nice staircase. As far as I can tell, this is another thing. If you like caves in North Carolina, and granted, these aren't huge things that I've explored, Torrey's Den or Boone's Cave so far, but they're awesome, and they don't take much hiking to visit and explore. Just get you an idea of your surroundings right here on the Yadkin River. For some reason, there's a little sign for a plant and a tree down there, so lucky me, I get to go down there. So I walked all the way down, and it's a orchid, type of orchid. So that's cool. My mom loves orchids, as do lots of people. But cool to see we have one growing here in the wilderness of North Carolina. So one kind of disappointing thing, but just like a awareness thing, is, you know, you see right below me there lots of plastic bottles and crap in the Yadkin River. So just keep in mind, it's best to recycle. If you don't recycle, trash cans are fine as long as it doesn't end up in the river, you know. So but that being said, I'm impressed. It's not a ton, and just one of those things I wanted to point out, because it makes you aware when you got a drink bottle, throw it in the trash at least. Maybe even recycle it. And here's just a cool shot of the Yadkin. If you pan around, I think it's actually cool that they put that sign where they did, because you can see the caves from a different angle. There's a little rock staircase that leads down to it. I'm gonna go check that out, and then I'm gonna go up this nice wooden staircase. So I wanted to show you, here's a cool little stone staircase that the signs told me not to ascend. I don't really see any reason to, but leads you right down to the top part of the cave here. And this one, in this little top area, doesn't have, well, back here, it does actually have, as you can see, another little crawl passageway. Goes inside the rock and twists around. But this is cool in here, low ceiling. Ooh. I'm all right. So anyway, I just wanted to show the top cave, different perspective on stuff, spider webs, cave rock stuff.
Again, Boone's Cave, Davidson County, North Carolina. Staircase now. Still didn't really say how long the hike was down here, but it looks like if you start at the top, you can make it, you know, a short like mile hike or something. But if you drive down to where I did, it might be even shorter than the Tory's Den, or very similar, which was 2/10 of a mile, I believe. Then you just have this really nice staircase you can walk up to get out of here. I'd say this is about as nice as the trails get. And even if you just want to drive up here and come halfway down the stairs, this nice porch with benches overlooking the Yadkin River. You wouldn't even know those caves are below you, and it's still a beautiful place to see. Yeah, so I'm back in my car now. Did come across some other people. I guess there's 3 women hiking. License plate was saying they're from Illinois. And there's a lady asking them and me how far things were. That's the one thing they don't have that I have. Well, that trailhead, or at the rest area, they did have a map that showed all the trails and says the distance of them. Down here, if you drive down here, it doesn't say how far it is. If you want to hike these wilderness trails or cottonwood and these different things they list on the signs. So definitely do the research, because it closes at 5 p.m. and you're not supposed to be here after dark. So I'm going to drive to the top and see what we can find out, see if there's anybody else to talk to, but it's awesome to come in the winter when there's not many people. So driving out of here, man, I broke a sweat, and it's like almost 70 degrees here in December. Can't beat it. So this is just past the rest area, and this is what I went straight past when I came in, is just this little house up here. Now I'm gonna pull in here. I don't know that this is part of the park or private residence or what, but I'm gonna pull in and just check it out at least. But they do have trailheads. That's what I was talking about up here. If you see that little sign over there for trails, and so tells you a little bit more. And I'm gonna go in because this house looks like it does have information for us, possibly. And just to show you, we're in Davidson County. Whoop whoop. Established 1822. Well, I don't know what this little house is. I'm not sure if you can get inside, but they have cool signposts here telling you how far various things are. Cape Hatteras is 317 miles from here. So when you say you go to the Outer Banks in North Carolina, people think you're like going right down the street. Actually, been out there, takes a good 7 hours from Winston-Salem. What else we got here? What? Atlanta, Las Vegas, over 2,000. Hawaii, 4705. So anyway, that's fun. Cool that most people probably don't think we have is these little cactuses. Some big old cactus down over there. I think this is a private residence. What a cool place to live. Might be like a county building type residence, I don't know. It doesn't have signs about the trails though. That's the rest area. So that's where you're gonna get all your information for that. But there is trailhead here as well. And this is where the wildflower trail is. And I'm definitely gonna come back in the spring and check out the flowers here. Lots of signs about how it's against federal law to pick them and stuff, so They must be amazing around here. And North Carolina does really good with wildflowers. If you ever drove down our interstate highways, you'll see these huge patches that they've encouraged, and they just get really beautiful sometimes a year. And an animal that my kids are surprised that we had when I told them is a bobcat. And so, you know, these things don't usually mess with people or anything like that, but that's why I don't crawl too deep into those holes, or at least until I get somebody with me or something like that. Because you disturb one of these little guys' habitats, and you'll see how not little they are, I imagine. Wouldn't want to mess with a bobcat. So, hike safe, throw things away, you know, do the stuff to keep yourself safe and appreciate these wonderful, awesome animals. Okay, so one thing I do gotta do before I get out of here is tell you how long some of these trails are. So I'm gonna go back down to the rest area, because that house, I think somebody gets to live there, which is pretty cool and remote. So I'll be back in front of the thing to tell you if I can find out how far some of these hikes are. I noticed even more trails. If you step off from the rest area where I did, there's a loggers trail right here. And then look over here. There's a sign for camping. So looks like you can, these are camping sites right in here. So you can camp here at the top by the rest area and have that experience. They've set up a bunch of cool bird houses and stuff here too. You can hear the birds, they love it here. Looks like a cool place to camp, and it's like really close to a parking lot if you go around in your modern convenience, your bathrooms, Pepsi machine, born in North Carolina. They're not paying me to say that, and a snack machine. So this is the area, and I'm gonna go up there to read information, find out how far some of these trails are. You see here another one of these cactus things. Guess it likes this bathroom building because it's a little bit warmer here. I think that's probably why. All right, folks, here it is. Found the information here, and Cottonwood Trail, 1 mile round trip. It's easy. It says good family trail. Woodland wetland trails, just under 3/4 of a mile. So easy. And I actually experienced more of all this stuff than I thought, since all these are so short. But that means they're good for families and fun. Wildflower Trail, just under a 1/2 mile. So that's the one I want to come back and do. Backcountry Trail, 3/4 of a mile. Not for children, they say on that one though. Easy Loop, 1/2 mile round trip, easy moderate. And then the Runner's Loop, just under a 1/2 mile. And then Trail to Boone's Peak is 1 mile from the trailhead. So that's about how far everything is. If you want to call these people, phone number right there. So you can camp, hike, bring pets as long as they're on the leash, it says. So all in all, cool recreation area here in Davidson County, North Carolina. I'm Michael Lundquist, Vital Transport. Personally, I love roses, so I want to give a shout out to Bob here for putting a rose garden here. I don't see any blooms. I only have one bloom at home. It almost died from the snow, so I bet you these are awesome to see most of the year. Thanks, Bob.
And all of it trying to make sense of it all. And in between there, you got cops.
Here, some of the roads around Boone's cave and the park area. Awesome farmland. crazy blue sky. Cool little dirt road. See where it goes. A little extra time. I like to, as you saw in the last time, I like to show at least the surrounding area. Country living, as you can see. But it looks awesome, man. You got dogs out here, and run around, not be disturbed. Those people have a cool, looks like a collie and a sheepdog. Man, you have four-wheelers or something out here, you could go forever. So I'll check back if I see anything interesting, but just to show you what it's like if you take a left or right turn right outside the park, you end up in the middle of nothing. Yeah, so this road dead-ended. I had to turn around, came across a couple houses, private property. Saw a commode sitting on 2x4s back there, so country living for sure. Not gonna film that stuff. That stuff's private property, and for all I know, it's just a dump back there. But you know, it gets pretty primitive pretty quick. So just wanted to video from the road here, driving out. It's just so beautiful, remote. You get your thoughts to yourself, get away from all the craziness, and see some blue skies in North Carolina in December time. I enjoyed my trip to Boone's Cave, and I enjoy doing these videos. Who cares who watches? No, seriously, watch, please.
You couldn't
if
do it.
you want
They wouldn't let
to
you.
stop to get something to eat, you know, Tar Heel Q, pretty close to this Boone's Den. There's a little gas station you can stock up, get water bottles and stuff like that. But don't throw them outside. Put them in the trash can. Put them in your car. I saw they end up in the river. So just to end this video out, it's a great visit to Boone's Cave. It's 2 days after I've been there, and I just finished editing it, and I was gonna balance out the audio, but while I was editing it, I noticed there's some weird things going on with the audio at times, and especially if you look at 23 minutes 11 seconds when I go into the cave. I'm not sure what happens. You know, it's for sure some sort of glitch or energy or something going on, but check out 2311, check out more caves, and check me out for my next video, Michael Lundquist, Vital Transport. Have a good one.